Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Vivian from Singapore Water Association. Thank you for attending PUB's briefing on R&D focus areas and upcoming initiative by Ms. Gu Yan, Division Head of Tech Scanning and Partnerships in the Technology Department. Before we proceed, I'd like to advise on some additional new features of our WebEx platform. Firstly, on the bottom right, you can see a Q&A icon, which we'd like to request you to post your questions in the icon during the Q&A segment. Secondly, there's a real-time speech-to-text translation in the bottom left button where you can actually select your preferred languages to translate. We'd like to further advise on some housekeeping rules and disclaimer clauses. To ensure better connectivity, please mute your microphone and turn off your camera. You may communicate with us after the session. Please share your questions again in the Q&A icon where we can provide answers where possible during the Q&A segment. Do identify yourself so that we can respond to any unanswered questions. We'll be recording this session and reserve the rights to the video. Kindly complete a 1-minute poll survey at the end of the session. We will only forward the recording and presentation deck to the survey respondents. All information shared is for general information only and does not contain or convey any legal advice or admin assistance. Information shared is true and accurate as of today. The organizers and speaker reserve all rights in the provided materials. Again, we'll be recording this webinar and it will be shared and kept for as long as it serves as a business purpose for the association. By attending this webinar, you are giving your consent to this recording. Without further ado, may we now invite Ms. Gu Yan to share with us today. Ms. Gu, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Vivian. Let me share my screen first. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, 1 second. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is Gu Yan. You can also call me Shirley. I'm from the Technology Department of PUB. It's really my honor today to share with you what are the R&D focus areas for PUB and also some of the upcoming initiatives. The whole purpose of today's sharing is for the participants and the water industry to know more about what PUB is looking at and interested in so that we can foster more collaborations in future. Yeah, so my presentation today will consist of 3 parts. First is on the drivers, why we are why we are focused on innovation and what is our framework for R&D, and then what are the focus areas before I end up the sharing with the upcoming initiatives. Yeah, so you may be familiar with these slides. So basically summarize our motivation and drivers for innovation. You all know that by 2060, the water demand is going to double from what the current demand is. And what's worse is that with the expiry of the water agreement with Malaysia, we are going to depend more on the energy-intensive water taps like new water and desalination. So as a result, the energy is going to be 4 times and also doubling the sludge of what we have today. So besides all these challenges, we also face the negative externalities, including the limited land and also the more and more challenges by the climate change, not mentioning the rising public expectations and also the shortage on the manpower. So we believe all these can be solved by technology together with digitalization. Yeah, so as mentioned just now, for the two water taps, we do need to reduce the energy for that. So for used water, we're trying to achieve the energy neutral for used water treatment and also have the seawater desalination energy. So besides that, we want to have a more real-time water quality analysis so that any events happened will allow us to have more reaction time. So all these will help us to ensure a more resilient water system in the rising of the climate change. So besides that, the digitalization is also a key part which will work hand in hand to make sure we work smarter and have a more efficient system. So for we are a strong believer in technologies, and the technology department is the so-called the forefront to drive this mission. So for PUB, we have a group of 30 plus officers for the technology department. So we focus on managing the PUB R&D grants. For PUB, we adopt outcome-based focus on what the outcome can be driven by all this research. And we are also very neutral in terms of the technologies. So we open all the things that can help us to solve the problem and has no bias regardless who we are collaborating with. So this is in a sense to help us increase the water resource, improve the water quality, and meanwhile also reduce the energy, the chemical, and also less resilient on the manpower and generate less waste. Sorry. Yeah, so for our R&D journey starts with the first success, which is the new water. So for new water, we have gone through a long journey, all the way from the basic research to study the other overseas experience, from the pilot to demonstration before it is fully implemented in our plant. So based on this journey, we kind of discover what is the so-called the success ingredient. Sorry, let me change my slide. So come up with this R&D framework. So you can see that for PUB, we funds the full-fledged research. So from the upstream one, collaborating with the researchers from the academic society, all the way to the demo scale projects. We are collaborating now with over 200 companies locally and overseas. Yeah, so internally, besides technology department, as mentioned just now, we are not big, but we do leveraging on a bigger society in the R&D force in the whole PUB. So we work hand in hand with the operational departments, and also for PUB, we have a group of specialists on the different focus areas. So for all the R&D projects, we actually work quite closely with these two groups to ensure that we can deliver a more successful outcome. So, yeah, so what is our vehicle to deliver all these missions just now we mentioned, which comes to the core part is R&D funding. For PUB, we manage mainly on two parts of funding. So first is for PUB, we do allocated 20 million per annum for the R&D. So this arise from the 2002 when we have successfully launched the new water. So it has been over the years support over 500 projects so far, and the total value is over 400 million. So for this total value of 400 million, it's not just PUB's contribution. We do encourage the co-funding with our collaborators, because I think for such co-sharing of risk, everybody will be more dedicated and committed to a successful outcome. Yeah. So besides the PUB R&D, we also manage the National Research Foundation's funding back, I think, back in 2006. Yeah, so it's under the 5-year tranche of funding tranche, and so far, we just completed the Research Innovation Enterprise 2020 is the tranche 3, and in the midst of getting the tranche 4 funding. So for this NRF funding, we basically manage two funding schemes. One is on the competitive funding for water research. So for this, in short, CWR is based on the request for proposal. I believe many of you must be familiar with this funding scheme. So on a regular basis, PUB will launch our problem statement and look for solutions. So far, we have already called 23 RFPs so far and support over 150 projects to date. So there is another funding scheme called Living Lab Water. So for this Living Lab Water, it's focused on those demonstration projects, which is just one step before its commercialization, so-called. So through this Living Lab, it will be able to get the first reference or to encourage some early adoption. So you need to find, in a sense, pair up with, if you are technology providers, you need to pair up with a technology adopter. So it's not just for research that happens in lab, but real is the one very close to the real world application. Yeah. Sorry, the slides is very slow. Okay, so next I'm going into the what is our R&D focus areas. So this is the house I think we have been constantly shared with the industry. Is our PUB technology roadmaps. So this house diagram summarize what are the focus areas for PUB. So you can see now we have a total of 9 focus areas. So this is a live document. It has been under quite frequent review. So this version is the latest version that we got our management's approval, and it's kind of charts what is the our game plan for the next 5 years. So those focus area with the star is the areas that we will, in a sense, prioritize for the next 5 years, including the water treatment, desalination reuse, industrial water solution, and used water treatment. So these 3 has been there for a long time. So for the next 5 years, to help us keep relevant with the growing and evolving landscape, we also have 2 new focus areas. So one is related with climate change, and the other is on the resource recovery, the circular economy related topic. I'm going into some details for the next slides for each of the 5 focus area. Yeah, so for the first one is on the desalination and water reuse. So the first graph is on the desalination. So you know that currently desalination, the bottleneck is on the high energy consumption, which the current based on the CW seawater reverse osmosis technology is about 3.5 kilowatt hour per cubic meter. So now within these next 5 years, by 2025, we target to bring it to almost half the energy to 2 kilowatt hour per cubic meter. So currently, this is done through the technologies that we have been investing over the years, including the ultra-permeable membrane, for example, the aquaporin membrane, and also how to harvest some of the wasted energy from desalination seawater brine or the new water new water brine as well. So this is called the pressure retarded osmosis. So for last year, actually we the recent RFP we caught is on the topic of the pre and post treatment for desalination. So recently, I think a couple of projects were awarded and start on this front. But these will only maybe be able to lead us to the near targets. And we do encourage all the whole industry to help us with achieving the long-term target, which is to bring it down further to around 1 kilowatt hour per cubic meter. This is really based on, in a sense, that very close to the theory lowest energy consumption. Yeah, so some breakthrough do need in this front. So another focus area is on the new water. So for the new water, currently, two things we are aiming at. So one is on the percentage of recovery rate, and another is on the energy consumption. So we have two targets. For short-term targets is to increase the recovery rate from the current 75% to 90%. So I would say that this is a target already achieved in a sense through these flow reversal technologies, which can effectively reduce the scaling and increase the recovery. So riding on this success, we also want to see how can even halve the energy required from the 0.4 kilowatt hour per cubic meter to 0.2. So this can be achieved through some of the technologies like the ultra-permeable membrane just now I mentioned, which can also be applied for desalination as well. So if we move on to the used water treatment side, the energy neutral use WRP, I mean, is a aim for PUB. So so far we actually make huge progress in this front. So for our current WRP, it is at about 25% energy sufficiency. So just a little bit more, what does the energy efficiency mean is that for used water treatment, we do harvest energy through the biogas generation. So the percentage is like the in-plant generation versus all the process energy required for both the liquid treatment and also the solid treatment. So currently it's about 25%, but through this integrated validation plant and the Ulu Pandan, we based on a few technologies, including the enhanced primary treatment, the biosorption, like the step feed MBR. We managed to really move the needle to 85% of the energy self-sufficiency. And in addition to that, on the solid treatment side, we also explore the thermal hydrolysis, which is to pre-treat the sludge, so as the sludge has better digestibility, and also the volatile solid reduction can be enhanced. Yeah. So in addition to that, PUB has been working with NEA on this co-digestion project. Basically, is to mix our used water sludge with food waste. Because it will create an optimal condition and to further bring down the VS reduction so as to generate more biogas. But long term, we also definitely doesn't stop where we are at now. So we are exploring things including the anaerobic MBR. So this is really something we are actively pursuing collaborator right now, and also the mainstream analogs. Yeah. So of course, like some of the advance in terms of how to have a better conversion rate for the electricity is also something we keep in view. So for PUB, we as the national water agencies, we do mainly focus on the municipal part, but on the industrial part, we also pay equal attention. It's because I mean just now based on the challenges we are facing, we do want to see how can reduce the industrial water consumption through some of the initiatives. So we aim and we have a special unit. It's called the Industrial Water Solution Project Unit in the technology department. So it drives to collaborate with the industrial users and players to marry the solution providers with those high water consumption players for them to adopt some of the better efficient solutions, so as to have a better recycling and reduce the industrial water consumption. So we have a target to reduce the industrial consumption collectively by 30 mgd, and also bring it to 100 mgd reduction by 2060. So these are done through like these two parts. So first is on to reduce the cooling tower makeup and losses, and also increase the water recovery and have the less water intensive processes and tools. Yeah, so just now I mentioned, for the circular economy, it's really something PUB has been actively pursuing. Singapore is committed to be zero waste nation. So for PUB, we also want to do our part. So then we stock take what are the major waste stream in-house. We realized that, okay, for our WRP and WSP generates two major waste stream. It's the sludge. Yeah, so currently for our WRP, we produce the dewater sludge and also the dry sludge only in Changi WRP. So these two type of sludge currently is in a sense mixed and it's being further treated through the incineration plant, generate the incinerated bottom ash, and before it is disposed to the Semakau landfill. So for our waterworks sludge, currently is being directly disposed to the Semakau landfill. Yeah, so for this, we do want to, after PUB close the water loop, we do want to also close the waste loop to generate, to explore what are the useful products can be generated from our sludge. So as it not only contribute to the national imperative of the zero waste nation, but also because all these disposal do incur the cost for us. So it's also a cost savings from PUB side. So what we are doing is that we have a target is like by in the next 5 years, we want to reduce the dry solids per cubic meter of used water treated from the current level about reduce to about 70% of the current level, and in a long run to reduce it to half, so that just now mentioned the sludge is going to be doubled by 2016. So if we achieve this goal, we will be able to maintain the current sludge footprint. Yeah. So so just now I mentioned for the sludge part, we are exploring the various technologies, gasification, pyrolysis, hydrothermal, extra. But there is also worth to take note that besides the sludge, there is also another waste stream, which is the seawater RO brine. So for this, we had done some literature study and also patent scanning, and it's actually quite a valuable source which can recover some of the minerals and metals from this source. So this is also another areas we are looking at under this area. So then we move on to the climate change. For climate change, Singapore has this Center for the Climate Resource Research Singapore, which projected two key figures based on the V2 report. So one is that the sea level rise is going to up to 1 meter by 2100. And meanwhile, for the temperature is also projected to increase up to 5 Celsius. Yeah. So then in the face of this, we do need to come up with the plan how we can tackle all these challenges. So we kind of divided this problem into three parts. So first is on the coastal protection. You might know that for PUB, we have already now been the lead agency in terms of the coastal protection initiatives, and we have a delegated department, coastal protection department, set up in last year in PUB. So we work together with this newly set department to see what are the things we can do under coastal protection part. So this is a very busy slide. I'm not going to detail, but basically summarize the what are the key aspects from the whole life cycle. Currently, we are still at the very early stage and the mapping and the master planning side, but gradually we're going into all these the following steps covering the design, construction, operation, and also the assessment and monitoring as well. So another part is on the climate change adaptation. So what does it mean is that, okay, so if say climate change can't, I mean, we can in a sense mitigate the and slow down some of the climate change effect, but we also need to be prepared how we can deal with all those changes if it's negatively will happen. Yeah, so for this, we currently, based on the CCRS report, we know that roughly what is the projection in terms of the overall picture to Singapore, what might happen. But it's not yet into zoom-in version, like how it will impact PUB, impact the water system per se. So this is the first layer of understanding we do need to establish soon, is to understand if based on just now the projection by the CCRS, then what does it mean to the PUB water quality, like the neutral, the local catchment, and how the nutrient loading, the algae growth will be impact. Yeah. So besides that, like our desalination and new water process, so whether some of the biological process will be impact as well, and how the scaling will be affected, so on and so forth. Yeah, so also the network and as well as our infrastructure. Yeah, so another aspect we also look at is how to slow down or in a sense mitigate the climate change impact. Yeah, so it is break into the three key pillars. So one is on definitely the renewable fuels, the renewable energy, which we already undergoing some efforts. The another part is also overlap with the earlier initiatives mentioned, like how to reduce the energy for the water treatment and so on. And another part is pretty new, is on the reuse. So for the carbon is also it is something that will be generated over our water treatment or use water treatment process. So how to capture, utilize, and also store this carbon is something we are very actively pursuing at this moment. Some of the potential areas listed down here, including how to upcycling the biogas to hydrogen or biomethane, how to minimize the CO2 for some of, like, say, useful construction, and so on. So these are really new but also very hot topic we are pursuing. Okay, so now I'm going to the last segment of my presentation, is what you are expecting for the next very, very soon in the coming weeks. Yeah. So the first thing is on the CWR, the competitive funding for water research. Just now I mentioned. So it is a competitive funding, and it is structured via this request for proposal. So we have 4 types of RFPs, including both the top-down, which means that we kind of defined what is the topic, or even what is a specific specific challenges we want to address. Yeah, but we also have other type which is more open up, like open RFP or program RFP. So basically, whatever topic that related with water can be submitted. So this slide summarize so far for the CWI we have called 23 RFPs and cut across all the key domains so far, except for the 2 new ones because it's recently been introduced. So for this, we have something that we do want to have some preview for the SWA members is that, okay, we are going to call 2 directed RFP. So it means that we set the topic is on climate change adaptation and resource recovery. Although I can't share the exact detail and scope at this moment, but it will be related with the 2 topic right now, and it's going to be called during the SIWW 2021, which is happening, I think, in 10 days' time. The first day of SIWW will be 21st of June. It cut across 2 weeks and will end on 2nd of July. So if you want to, so we are going to hold the info session and so on. So if you want to be included in our mailing list, please contact Dr. Peng Na on this. So another thing is on PUB's Global Innovation Challenge. So this is really some new things we only launched in last year. So let me just have a quick introduction what the GIC means. So you know, for the just now the RFP we mentioned, if I think many of you might already know that for the request for proposal, because we do based on the competitive nature, it do go through quite rigorous scrutiny and evaluation process. So it will take I think around 10 months between the application to the final award, and sometimes even longer. Yeah. So for this Global Innovation Challenge, it is something that we want to in a sense have some accelerate the way of discover and also adopt such innovation, and it's open to the whole world, so that is a Global Innovation Challenge. So we're trying to define what is the real operational challenges PUB are facing right now. So all these are very real challenges, and our engineers are eager to resolve. So so we launch those challenge, and we will support the project about $250,000 million to this value, and all these solutions will be mentored by PUB expert, and of course, because all these are very real challenge, so it do has the potential to further upscale if it's do work. So more information you can find on the PUB's Innovation Challenge website. So for this, it was only introduced in last year. Last year we launched 6 challenge statements, and over 100 submissions received from 20 countries. Is a quite positive submission, and out of it, 10 solutions were shortlisted, and only within 5 months. Yeah, so it will go through the evaluation interview before it is like award and pilot. So good news is that for Global Innovation Challenge, we are going to launch soon as well this year. So 4 new challenges will be launched also during SIWW 2021, and it's open to companies, innovators, researchers all around the world. So if you want to get more information and also subscribe the mailing list, you can contact the contact point listed here. So I think that's all for my sharing today, and I'm happy to take any further questions. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Koo. So from the Q&A, we can see there's two questions here. Sorry. So Ms. Koo, we have a question from Sok Hoon from Bini, Singapore. In terms of energy self-sufficiency goal, does the 100% definition count the energy generated by the introduction of external sources like greasy waste and food waste?
Yeah, so I mean, supposedly it is include in the yes, because I mean, what we are using in this calculation is that we based on the biogas that's generated. So if this biogas generation contributes from a mixing of the greasy waste and food waste, then this portion of the additional biogas do in a sense counted in the energy generation. Yeah, so it will then be used to compare with whatever process required to process such co-digestion or whatever. In a sense, yes, yeah.
Okay, so the answer is yes, it's 100% definition counts. So for next question, we have another question from Jason Wong. For zero liquid discharge, how can NEA assist for the concentrated salt that is evaporated? It is quite likely to fail the TCLP test. Will you be able to answer this question?
I'm sorry because
Yeah,
I think for these questions I might need to consult my colleagues from
yeah,
the other team.
NEA. Yeah,
Yeah.
because this question is relatively relevant more to the NEA agency. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
If there's no more questions, probably we can actually end off the session today. Any questions, further questions from the floor? Okay, if not, I'd like to flash the whole survey, which we would like you to help us to share. Sorry, there's another question from Cecilia. Ms. Koo, the waste reduction and resource recovery is a very hot topic right now. What are the efforts that PUB has already invested in this area?
Okay, sure. Yeah, so indeed, thanks very much for the question. Yes, so indeed, for the circular economy is a very hot topic right now, and PUB already make some move in terms of this front. So for now, for PUB, we trying to explore the different technologies, like to study its feasibility and whether all these waste-derived products can meet and the standard and also safe to use for its intended purpose. So far, PUB has already has a few ongoing projects on this front. So including the gasification project. So we instead of incineration, we have this high temperature slanting gasification to convert our sludge into the slag. So the slag is, in a sense, more clean as compared to incinerated bottom ash. Will be able to use for some construction purposes, including both the non-structural and structural purpose. And another thing is also for pyrolysis. So pyrolysis, we are exploring whether it can convert our sludge into biochar, which the potential application including the soil conditioner, as well as some activated carbon, which are used for the odor control of our plant. So these are the two projects we already has went through a few months halfway now, and recently we also award some new projects as well on the how to recycle and upcycle the waterworks sludge. So yes, we do have already made quite a bit effort in this front, but we'll definitely work on more collaboration in the areas like, for example, how to convert the sludge into the biocrude or the biopolymer and so on. Yeah.
Yes, Ms. Koo, we have another question from Kaiwai Azen. For the Amanox process application, does PUB have any idea how to implement this in CWRP, TWRP, and Kanji project?
Yeah, thanks very much for the question. Yes, so for the analogs, we do see that if these combined with the anaerobic MBR have this so-called AB stage process, will help us largely reduce the sludge footprint while maintaining equivalent energy consumption as compared to the current MBR process demonstrated in IVP. So yes, so we now have this demonstration project to explore this configuration, the combined configuration, the anaerobic MBR followed by this NMOX. So if, but I would say that for this process is still at the pilot stage and it need to go through demo before it can fully deploy it. But for sure, this is a key topic we will try to adopt and the nearest opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Koo. We have come to the last question from Saka. Wherever I say last, there's another question coming in. Okay, from Saka, Saka is asking, is there any water quality monitoring challenges currently PUB is facing, like further lower concentration level or any new parameters to be measured or pattern measurements like inline, online against traditional lab-based method?
Yes. Okay. First of all, I'm not a water quality expert here, but I'll try to, based on my limited understanding. So currently, for the water quality side, we have, I think, two key issues. Two key challenges, or in a sense, two key capabilities we want to build. So first is on this OPPP. Like how to detect this OPPP in our like sewer network or our water treatment system. And another thing is for those, because nowadays there are many non-target parameters, or yeah, so we in the next 5 years we do want to build some of the like how to detect some of the non-target contaminants. Yeah, so these are the two key capabilities we want to build upon. Yeah.
And we have another question from Dr. Zhou, UESH. How does PUB look at new water brine? Have any studies been carried out?
Yeah, so for the new water brine, currently it is in a sense a useful source right now, because for the pressure retarded osmosis technology just now I mentioned is actually to harvest the salient ingredient difference between the new water brine and the seawater RO brine, so that all these harvested energies will be, in a sense, can be used back to our desalination treatment system. Yeah, so the key thing is on the PRO technologies. Yeah.
And one last question from Dr. Ami from Biosyn. Have any projects been awarded in the water quality area, especially taste and color quality?
Okay, sure. Yeah, so indeed, yes. So I mean, for water quality is actually has been a key focus area, I think, since the day one of PUB R&D program established. So many projects actually funded in the water quality part. So specifically for the taste and odor quality, it is one of the challenge statement launched in GIC Global Innovation Challenge 2020. Actually, I can't recall, but I think one or two solutions was awarded in this taste and odor part. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Koo. Thank you for sharing today, and thank you for answer our questions that is swarming in very last minute. And thank you, of course, for all the attendees today. We have a good pool of attendees today's session. And everyone for today's sharing and attendance. We have upcoming events in the month of June. Kindly visit SWA website for more updates and details. For further queries on this event, please contact the SWA Executive Office. Thank you. Please stay safe and stay well. Thank you, Ms. Koo. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.